The story begins in Mumbai, where a terrible tornado is tearing everything apart. In the middle of the chaos, a boy still tries to find his dog, though in the current situation the chance of finding him is almost gone. In the blink of an eye everything is destroyed, but the deaths in Brazil are even more horrifying, and as people relax on the beach a strange gas begins to roll in from the ocean. At first they think it is about to rain, but it is actually death itself. The cold is so extreme that it is more frightening than ordinary frost, freezing people solid even as they stand still. One woman tries to run when, behind her, a plane loses control and crashes down, freezes hard and shatters like glass, sending fragments flying everywhere. This is the year 2019, when disasters strike everywhere in the world one after another. Where there is no tsunami there is drought, and where there is no drought, it is cold enough to freeze people on the spot. Some places are scorching hot while others are cold enough to freeze the blood. Gradually, humanity realizes there is almost nowhere on Earth truly safe to live. In this context, 27 badly affected countries, including India, hold a meeting at the United Nations. After laying out the situation and agreeing on a common view, they decide to gather the smartest and most talented scientists, a team led by Jake Lawson. Their goal is to build a system that can stop climate disasters before they happen. The invention is almost a miracle, a huge network of satellites built together by the 27 countries, with each nation's satellites connected to a central system called Dutch Boy, which is no ordinary satellite network. The system can detect disasters early, intervene in the atmosphere and stop catastrophes before they occur. Once it is complete, the system is launched into space with the agreement of all the participating nations. 2 months later, a large storm forms over Japan, but this time no one dies because Dutch Boy neutralizes it in time. However, discontent arises in the United States since Jake activated Dutch Boy on his own without asking the management, an action that sends most of the credit to him instead of the US government. Jake is summoned to a meeting with many high-ranking officials. The committee overseeing the system is furious that he acted without orders. They demand that Jake hand over full control of Dutch Boy so the US can transfer it to NASA to manage and exploit. But Jake refuses. About 90% of the system's operating program was built by him, and he does not want to bow to people who only care about power. He makes it clear that he activated the system to save millions of people, and that if he had waited for approval countless people could have died. Jake walks out of the meeting bitter. Max scolds him, saying that if he had stayed quiet or apologized, it would not have come to this. At first Jake is surprised, but then he learns the real reason. Max has long been jealous of his brother's success and does not want Jake in a higher position than his own. It was Max who influenced the officials and turned them against Jake, and after Jake is removed Max is given his position. Jake is utterly crushed and the one who caused it all is his own brother. 3 years pass without any major storm, tsunami or serious earthquake. Humanity begins to believe that Earth has been healed and the system is working perfectly. But one day, the United Nations gets word of a strange phenomenon in a village near Kabul. An investigation team crosses the blazing desert of Afghanistan to reach it. By all logic, the temperature should be around 50 degrees Celsius, yet the whole village is buried in ice and snow. The temperature has dropped below zero and the villagers froze to death on the spot. The snow is still fresh, proving the disaster happened only the night before. Footage of the scene is sent to the US President and Cabinet, and everyone is shocked and suspects that Dutch Boy has malfunctioned. Because the US now controls the system, the whole world begins to look to them. Max suggests sending someone up to the space station to check, but a senior official says only Jake is capable, since he understands the system better than anyone. The problem is that the government once fired him. Max takes on the task of persuading his brother and goes to see Jake to say they need him back. Jake refuses at once, because his attitude toward his brother has completely changed since the betrayal. But Max plays on his sense of responsibility. That Dutch Boy is failing. People have died, and if the number of victims rises, the creator of the system will not escape the guilt either. After thinking it over, Jake reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, the US government has already sent an Indian scientist from Israel named Mahmoud Habib up to check the system. Habib copies all the important data onto a hard drive and hides it in a safe place. As he passes through a corridor, all the doors suddenly seal shut, an abnormal spike in pressure blows out a window, and a powerful rush of air sucks him out into space and kills him. It all looks as though someone deliberately set it up. In Hong Kong, a different phenomenon occurs. As the temperature rises terribly, a weather worker out shopping notices that his cat keeps climbing into the fridge. When he brings eggs outside, a few drop to the ground and instantly cook like fried eggs because the pavement is so hot. Then screams ring out as the ground splits open and glowing red lava surges up. As if the city sits on a volcano, the temperature passes 100 degrees. The streets collapse into two slabs and cars and people fall into the cracks. High-rise buildings topple like a deck of cards. A man named Cheng Long drives at full speed, weaving through the lava to escape. In the end, he crosses a bridge into an area with perfectly normal temperatures. As if the disaster only struck within a certain range, the news spreads quickly around the world, and Jake is ordered to go up to space at once to repair the system. Before he leaves, he hugs his daughter and promises to come back alive. Jake flies up to the space station he once designed himself. There are experts from many countries and a female commander in charge of all operations. Who introduces him to the team? Everyone already knows about the Hong Kong incident and at first assumes it was just a gas pipe explosion. But Jake disagrees. In his view, the same cause froze Kabul and turned Hong Kong into a furnace. And the problem is to find out what that cause is. On Earth, Max is with his girlfriend Sarah, a US Secret Service agent he met at the White House. Just then Cheng Long calls to say the Hong Kong disaster was not caused by a pipe but by Dutch Boy, and when he tried to check the system his account was disabled. Max checks and finds that his own account is locked too. He begins to suspect there is a mole in the government trying to hide the truth. On the station, the Secretary General video calls Jake and asks the team to quickly find the fault and identify the cause of the Kabul and Hong Kong disasters. Jake also reports that a scientist on the team has died mysteriously. After getting the orders, he checks every linked satellite but finds no malfunction. When he checks the central system, he discovers a frightening truth: that someone changed the settings so that Kabul, which should be hot, was frozen while Hong Kong, which needed cooling, was heated fiercely. The commander cannot understand who could do this or what the purpose is. Meanwhile, at his office on Earth, Cheng Long finds that the power suddenly goes out. He hides and sees a group of men in suits, along with armed men, breaking into the system. They do not destroy all the data but only take the information from his machine. And Cheng Long realizes this may be a team of professional hackers. He calls Max and arranges to meet in New York because he has an important lead. 4 hours later, Max and Sarah arrive, but as Cheng Long is crossing the street, someone behind him deliberately shoves him into the front of a car. Max cannot make out the culprit in the chaotic crowd. Before he dies, Cheng Long tries to say the name of the person behind the attack, but his heart stops before he can get it out. Max is in pain because Cheng Long was not only his last hope but also a good friend. On the station, Jake remembers the scientist Habib, who had been sent up to investigate the fault before he died. So Jake reviews the security cameras and sees that Habib copied data onto a hard drive and hid it. He believes the drive holds important evidence, and after many attempts he finds it. When the commander connects the drive to the system, everyone is stunned as Dutch Boy has been hacked. A piece of malware was planted in the system to deliberately create phenomena that defy the laws of nature. Like the ice in Kabul and the lava in Hong Kong, other places will face similar disasters, and every account with access has been locked. Max turns to a hacker friend of his, who checks the parts of the data still accessible and confirms that Dutch Boy was breached by an extremely complex virus, and removing it could take far too long. In her view, this is almost certainly the work of a major political power, because an ordinary person could never do it. Jake video calls Max and says there is only one option: to reset all of Dutch Boy. But to do it they need the fingerprints of all 10 fingers and a retina scan of the president. Without that authentication, no one can change the system. Max says the president is away on a trip, a detail that makes Jake believe even more that the president is involved. Because why would he leave right when the whole world is in crisis? Max keeps investigating and wants Sarah's help, but at first she refuses since she does not trust Jake and does not want to gamble her career. And meanwhile, disaster warnings come flooding in. In Brazil, people are sunbathing when a blast of cold air rushes in from the sea, freezing and killing anyone caught in it. Max goes to Florida, where the president is giving a campaign speech before thousands of people. And Sarah is there too. Max seeks out Secretary Deckham and explains that Dutch Boy is no longer a tool for saving lives, but has become a weapon, and that the whole world faces the threat of a geostorm. At first, Decim does not believe him, but after seeing the data his expression changes. Max says these disasters are not random but were caused on purpose by a major political power. When Decim asks how Max knows, his manner makes Max realize at once that Decim is the one behind it. Decim also realizes that Max knows too much and must be eliminated. He lures Max into a room and opens fire, but Max manages to lock himself in and finds a way out. Max runs to Sarah and tells her the whole truth. The mastermind is not the president but Decim, who wants to kill the president to seize power. And Sarah finally believes him. As a senior Secret Service agent, she creates chaos by firing into the air, quickly gets the president out of the hall, and into a taxi in the parking lot. Max goes along and explains everything, and the president is astonished to learn that his closest aide is plotting to betray him. On the space station, Jake orders everyone to evacuate to another module because Dutch Boy might explode. The system has triggered a self-destruct mode if there is a risk of a geostorm. In the chaos, Jake discovers who planted the virus, a British systems engineer on the station who took $4 billion from Decim, and Jake confronts him. The traitor points a gun at him and the two throw themselves into a fight. When Jake asks why he is willing to kill millions, the man says he does it for his country. That if Decim becomes president, the United States and Israel could rule the world together. Right then, the pressure blows out a window and the traitor is sucked outside and dies just like Habib. The commander argues that everyone has to return to Earth since the situation is hopeless. But Jake decides to stay and fix Dutch Boy, saying that he created it so he has to be the one to repair it and the others leave while he stays behind. On Earth, Decim and his men block the road of the car carrying the president. One of them gets ready to use a bazooka, but Sarah appears from behind and subdues Decim. The president's security forces also arrive quickly and arrest him for treason. Max takes the president to the Dutch Boy control center, where the president scans his retina and fingerprints to grant reset access. But Max discovers there is still a problem, as the system was designed to self-destruct once the risk passes a threshold. Dutch Boy will explode in 8 minutes while the geostorm will begin in only 4. In the end, the commander does not abandon Jake, and the two work together to fix the system. But all over the world, the apocalypse has already begun. As Tokyo is hit by enormous blocks of ice, Mumbai is swept away by a tornado, Russia turns as hot as the Afghan desert, and Dubai in the middle of the desert is drowned by a massive tsunami. In space, Dutch Boy begins to break apart as Jake and the commander manage to climb into an escape pod. And separate from the station just before the whole system explodes. On Earth, everyone thinks Jake is dead, but his escape pod is racing back toward the planet. The moment Dutch Boy explodes, the geostorm stops and the floodwaters begin to recede. The tornado in Mumbai fades away, and the boy finds his dog again while Brazil also returns to peace. All the disasters were caused by the virus interfering with the climate system, and now the threat has ended. Jake returns to Earth safely in the escape pod and everyone is overjoyed. The president reinstates him as the head of the project. Max hugs his brother and apologizes for the mistakes of the past. And Jake apologizes to the president for having doubted him. The story ends as humanity escapes a disaster that could have destroyed the whole globe. The film leaves a reminder that no matter how powerful people become, nature and death always lie beyond their absolute control.